Hello and welcome to the Saturday morning preview show. I'm Blair Malloy. Those of you who have been watching the main show this week will have seen Kerry take on the hot seat, so you've got me this morning. Tam, thanks for dressing up for the occasion. we'll get right into it. The big game today, Celtic against Aberdeen. Is this a chance for Celtic to put down a marker to Aberdeen, the closest challenger so far this season?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the game of the weekend. I think when you've got two clubs who have started with perfect records, seven wins out of 7, the Aberdeen fans are getting seriously excited. You know, up there with the team and the new manager, there's a real confidence of them coming down the road to Glasgow. I think when you look back in the Alex Ferguson days, you know, that was the key games for them coming down to Glasgow, and Alex Ferguson picked up points and beat the Old Firm, and that's why they went on to win the league. So I think the Aberdeen fans will be dreaming about them coming down here and getting 3 points, but I think it's going to turn into a nightmare. I think that Celtic will step their game up, and I think if they do that, there's only one winner for me.
Ruffy, this is Jimmy Tilleen's biggest test of the season so far. How should they approach this for you?
Well, he's the only one that can answer that. You know, he's the only one that can, how much he believes in his players to go down and take the game to Celtic. You know, certainly the results that they've got, some players will believe that they can go down there and turn Celtic over. And I'm a wee bit like Tam. I think this is a massive test for them coming down. They've come through all the other tests so far, but this is a different proposition for them. This is a team who dominate most games, and you're on the back foot all the time. So for me, it depends on the big players turning up on the night, and the big players will all be in the defence.
Tam, you've said it's going to be a nightmare. Predictions for the score in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go for 3-1 to Celtic. I think that if Aberdeen can get the first goal, then it's a different game altogether. But I think if Celtic get the early goal, as we've seen at Parkhead, then they could steamroller Aberdeen. But I think Aberdeen will be competitive. But I just think Celtic have got too many attacking options to not only starting but off the bench, and I think they'll be too strong for Aberdeen.
3-1 for you, Ruffy?
If Cameron Vickers makes it, I think it'll be 2-0. If he doesn't make it, I think Aberdeen have maybe get a goal in them, but I still think Celtic will win the game.
Okay, the other half of the Old Firm on Sunday, midday, Kilmarnock versus Rangers. One of my many stats I've pulled out for this week. The Ayrshire side are yet to open the scoring in any of their 7 league games so far. They got their first win of the season, of course, against Dundee. Is that slow start killing them this season? Yeah,
I think it is. I think if you look at all the statistics, I think the team that scores first, you know, there's a large percentage of those games they're going to win the game. So coming from behind all the time is really difficult, and obviously they've done it at Dundee, but yeah, that's an incredible start, and they have had a slow start to the season, but I think the win against Dundee could kick-start them. I think they've no European football now to worry about, and I think they'll give Rangers a really, really hard game. Rangers, for me, have been getting results, but possibly papering over the cracks a little bit with performances, and I think they are maybe a drop points away from really turning on the manager, but I think they've got enough, you know, in the forward areas to go down and beat Kilmarnock, but I think it's going to be a really, really close game.
As for Rangers, of course, this week did mark 1 year of Philippe Clement at Ibrox. How do you rate his tenure so far? Has he been a success for you?
I think, yeah. I think that player on player since he's been there has got better. He keeps saying he wants to add to whatever he's brought in, so I think the supporters should buy into that. I think they'll be disappointed in the Champions League thing, getting out there. But no, I think on the whole, you know, they haven't hit the heady heights, but they're winning games. They're winning games just and that's the main thing that will keep the supporters there. You know, this will be, as Tam said, a difficult game because they've already put on record they're not particularly happy with the surface because they have to change the style of play. You know, some players like it, some players don't. I think the only saving grace for Kilmarnock is if they stop losing silly goals. Some of the goals they've lost this year has been terrible, so if they can remain tight at the back, I think they'll make it difficult for Rangers, but I still think Rangers have got far too much to offer.
So early kick-off on the Sunday. What's your score prediction?
I'm going to go Rangers 2-1.
2-1 to Rangers, Tam?
2-1 for me, Rangers, yeah.
Rangers, agreeing. Hearts against St Mirren, a new era under Neil Critchley. He's been chosen, if we're led to believe, by this Tony Bloom data-driven model. Do you buy into this? Does it reduce the capacity of the manager if he starts getting players with this data-driven model? If everything's chosen by computer, is it almost out of his hands a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's the end thing at the minute because of the success of Brighton. I think that Tony Bloom Tony Bloom is a very, very shrewd guy. I've read his book. He's clued up He's not only done it with Brighton, he's done it with USG in Belgium. You know, they've come through the leagues and they got them into the Champions League qualifiers and stuff. So, listen, I think that this is a Tony Bloom appointment. I think that takes the pressure off the board at Hearts. I think that between him and Andrew McKinlay, they've came up with the two names. Obviously, the Norwegian boy didn't take it, and in the last minute they've went to turn to Crichton. So, actually, I think that Hearts need to start winning games of football. I think they're talking about, you know, getting closer to Celtic and getting closer to Rangers. I think they need to start getting closer to St Johnstone and Kilmarnock above them at the minute, and I think it will take time for the managers, you know, ideas and tactics to come across, and that's why I think that this weekend, I think they'll pick up a point, but I still think it will take time for them to bed in with the new manager.
You look at their opponents this weekend, St Mirren, obviously had a tough week. Sean Rooney being released. Stephen Robinson has said it's left them short long term. They obviously started off with the highs of Europe this season. Is it just about riding out this tough spell? Have you credit in the bank from last year? Just about seeing their way through this, navigating it just now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you look at all the clubs, you look at Motherwell, who last year had a bad start. Sometimes that's the case. You know, I always break a season into 3 bits. You know, beginning of the season, middle of the season, the end. I'd rather go through a bad spell at the beginning than I would at the end. You know, because obviously, you know, if you're on a good run at the end of the season, you know, you're moving up the league. So he needs to start winning games. I think they've just went off the boil now. I think they're a very hard team to beat. But I think Hearts will, new manager, they're at home, you know, support behind them, might just nick this 2-1.
You think about draw?
1 each.
1 each. 2-1. St Johnstone against Ross County. Simo Valakari, we thought he was going to be in the dugout. It seems that the paperwork is not quite finished yet. Is that a distraction for the St Johnstone team, or will the St Johnstone players be looking at him on the sidelines going, we need to perform for him anyway?
Yeah, I think they'll be aware who the manager is. I think obviously it will be Andy Kirk and Alec Clarend in the dugout, but Simo Valakari will be sitting in the stand or wherever, and he's a manager. He'll be picking the team, he'll be training the players this week. So yeah, I think he's there, but all but spirit. You know, he's going to be the manager. So this is a game that St Johnstone need to win. I think for me, I think this season they've started slowly again. I thought last season they finished the season, you know, poorly. They were fortunate in the last game of the season for me to finish off the bottom, and you know, they're leaking goals at the back, they're not scoring goals. They don't look like a typical St Johnstone team who are really hard to break down. So, Ross County, superb performance just before the break against Celtic. Obviously didn't pick up any points, but, you know, a really, really good performance. And they have shown this season that they're capable of winning games. So, I think that Ross County can go and win. I think they'll win the game narrowly, 1-0. But Simo Valakari needs to find someone quickly who can put the ball in the net for them.
As Tam touched on there, Ross County, they played so well against Celtic just winning it late on. How much heart can they take from a performance like that, even though they didn't come out on the right side of the result?
Oh, massive. I think after the game they'll obviously be disappointed in losing the late goal, but in the dressing room in the next couple of days at training, you know, it'll be positive. You know, there's no many teams have taken Celtic that close, you know, so you've got to build on that. And I think the break, everybody will be very confident and looking forward to the next game. I always just think that Johnson have got to get points sometime, you know, and this is a fixture that both teams will be looking at, saying, look, we've got to get 3 points here. I don't think either of the two of them, I'm confident enough that they can, so I'm going to sit in the fence in this one and go 1 each.
Going on 1 each, and you're back in
1-0 Ross County.
1-0 Ross County, you're going for. Motherwell, Dundee. Motherwell, as you spoke in the show yesterday, without Paul McGinn, their captain. It's a massive blow for them. They've had a really tough time of it with injuries this season, but there is still a feel-good factor about them, and they're doing so well in the league this year. The question for me is Stuart Kettlewell underrated?
Yeah, good question. I think that he possibly is. I think that he's went through a real sticky patch last season, and the club stuck with him, which was to their credit. I think a lot of other chairmen and boards would have pulled the trigger when he went 12, 13, 14, whatever, how many games it was without a win. They're stuck with him. They started the season strongly. And listen, I think this is a game that they'll be targeting to win as well against a team in Dundee who are on a real poor run at the minute in terms of winning games in the league. So I think Lennon Miller, you know, I've seen him during the week there for Scotland under 21s. I think he is an incredible talent in terms of scoring and creating goals. He's Motherwell's best player for me at the age of 18. So I think with him in their team, they've just got that little diamond and they've got that little bit more to win this game.
Dundee on their end of the spectrum. Tony Docherty, a manager who did so well last season, he was just biding his time again, a little bit like St Mirren, to see through this rocky spell to get them back on the right track.
Yeah, as I said earlier there, I think every team like that, Dundee go through a bad spell. I think the managers know it's going to come. Obviously they don't want it to last too long, but sometimes they have to dig in. It just remains to be seen, can they recover from being 2-0 up, and then losing three late goals, and again, they'll be under a wee bit of pressure. So I just think with Motherwell having the home advantage and their tails are up, that they'll win this one 2-1.
2-1 to Motherwell?
2-1 Motherwell for me as well.
2-1 to Motherwell. Final game of the weekend, Dundee United against Hibs, another one of my favourite stats. Only lost one game so far this season against Rangers, but excluding own goals, Dundee United have had 8 different scorers this year. Only Celtic have had more, with 12. Is that testament to Jim Goodwin's the players he's bought in the summer?
Yeah, I think it's good that you're sharing the goals around. I think that you're not relying on one player to score all your goals. I think that Dundee United for me were a team at the start of the season I thought would have been in the bottom 2 or 3. I think that they won a very weak championship last season, and a lot of Dundee United fans weren't convinced about Jim Goodwin, but he's bought well. He's recruited well. The players he's brought in have been excellent. So again, this is going to be a difficult game. Hibs, I think they're better than their league position indicates at the minute, but they need to start winning games. I don't think there's any pressure on David at the minute, but with Hearts round the corner the following week, then this is a real big game for David and Hibs. So they have traditionally always had a good record against Dundee United, particularly at Tannadice, even going back to my day. So I think that Hibs are capable of going up there and winning, but they've got to be more ruthless in front of goal. I think they've only scored 6 goals in the league, and that's not something you associate with Hibs. Usually associate Hibs with scoring a lot of goals and maybe conceding a lot of goals. So I think with Martin Boyle back, that they've just got that little bit they can go up there and win narrowly 2-1.
Just like Tim was saying there, I was at Easter Road last time out when I played Motherwell. They missed so many chances. If they start putting the ball in the net, you'd have to think they would start getting the right results.
Yeah, but I think every team would be saying that. If you take your chances, you're going to win games. But you've got to have the players who have got the confidence to stick the ball in the back of the net. I haven't seen that with Hibs. I mean, Tam keeps telling us that it's coming. I think people are getting a wee bit, miffed that it's not coming quick enough. So going up with Dundee United is an ideal opportunity to get a win before the Hearts game, because the Hearts game is going to be oh so big, as far as supporters are concerned.
Okay, predictions for that?
Yeah, 2-1 Hibs.
1 each.
1 each. The all-important time that everyone waits for on Saturday morning, the quiz. So
sleep at night,
I have taken the duty
it's on
of it's on here.
Don't let him see you.
So
Ruffy, go that way a bit.
I want eyes locked together. There's no looking at this screen. All right. Fastest finger first. Question number 1. What was the score the last time Celtic and Aberdeen met at Celtic Park?
I'll go 3-0 Celtic.
Incorrect.
I'll go 2-1 Celtic.
Wrong. It was 6-0 to Celtic, if you remember that from last year. Question number 2. Derek McManus takes on one of the sides he formerly played for, but can you name any of the 3 English teams he turned out for?
West Brom.
Oh, he's done you there, Ruffy. West Brom.
What were the other 2?
The other 2 are, any of the rest of them?
Bradford.
Not Bradford. Just to show off, you don't get any more points.
Sheffield won the
No.
What was the one he had a Barney with?
That was when he was at West Brom against Sheffield United. But he also played for Stockport and Millwall.
Oh, well done.
Number 3, which current Hearts midfielder did Neil Critchley work with at Liverpool?
Which Hearts?
Which current Hearts midfielder did Neil Critchley work with when he was at Liverpool?
Devlin.
It's not Devlin.
No, it's not Devlin. It's don't know.
It's Jan Danda. Jan Danda was in the Liverpool Academy when Neil Critchley was there.
Question. But you stepped his game up with the questions.
Oh, no.
Good
I'll be writing
question.
the quiz from now on.
Yes.
Question number 4. Motherwell will be without captain Paul McGinn due to injury, but who was the Steelmen's captain last year?
O'Donnell.
Incorrect.
Liam Kelly.
It is Liam Kelly. Oh,
2-0 with the
pulled it out.
T1. Come on, man.
And finally, number 5.
Yeah, that's rough. You want this? Go. On you go.
Dundee United midfielder David Babunski was on international duty this week. For which country?
North Macedonia.
North Macedonia.
Well done, Skelp. Up the road.
Well done,
Up the road, Ruffy.
That was
Go.
brilliant.
Well, thank you very much.
Macedonia, how'd you get that?
Fair play. And Tam takes the win this week. Thanks for joining us on the Saturday Preview Show. Enjoy the football this weekend. And of course, subscribe and like all our social media channels.
Pop.